Welcome to Lipstick and Legacy, a podcast where your story matters and your journey has purpose. Together, we lift and inspire our communities one story at a time. Welcome, Casie.
Thank you.
So I would love to introduce Casie Jolley. She is a Las Vegas native, wife, mother of four, real estate agent, foster parent. I didn't know that about you.
Yes.
Nonprofit volunteer organizer of the Dazzle Prom. When someone meets you for the first time, what do you hope they feel about you?
That's a good question. I hope they know that I have a genuine love for people and care for them. My life revolves around my family, my kids, my faith, and any opportunity to serve and be involved in the community.
Tell me a little bit about growing up in Las Vegas and your early influences.
Sure. So Las Vegas native, born and raised here. And a lot of my early influences probably just be my parents and their service. I would say they have always been so generous. And that was a big example and something that I think was really instilled in me. It was never, hey, can we pay for this, or can we do this for someone else or our cousins or whoever it might be. They always were just so generous with what they had. And my dad always was very big on like, stuff is just stuff, but you can't replace people or relationships. So that was a big thing for me.
Did you have a large family growing up, or
Nope.
were you
Small? It's just me and my brother.
Oh, okay,
and then,
just two
but
of
we
you.
had, so we did a lot of like cousins and things like that. So
That's
yes.
awesome. Share with me a little bit about your humanitarian trip to Ghana and how it changed you.
That was one of my favorite trips. So I was in college and had the opportunity to go my freshman summer to Ghana. And we went over there teaching AIDS prevention to the villages. And
Were you with a group?
Yes.
Or what was the group you were
So I
with?
was at BYU, but we went through UVU. And so there was, probably 20 of us there. And I was mostly just like, oh, this will be a fun college experience, teaching AIDS prevention in different villages in Ghana. So we got to go into the schools and see these kids. And that's where I was just like, oh my gosh, I love culture and getting to meet new people. And it was so eye-opening because up until that point, my life had been pretty easy, right? I had never seen something like that. So it was just amazing seeing how different people live and how blessed we are here. And I use this story a lot for my kids. When we were in the schools, the kids have to wear a uniform to school in one of the villages. And so the children would take turns with their siblings going to school. Like 1 year, one kid would go, 1 year, another kid would go because they could only afford one uniform for their family. So all of us there were like, oh my gosh, we've taken school for granted our whole lives. So we called home. We're like, you got to wire some money over. We need to get uniforms for these kids. So we were able to get money and provide uniforms. And they were just so excited that another sibling would be able to go to school with them the next year. But it opened my eyes to just different people, loving them, and how many opportunities are around us out of the country, and just small little opportunities to sing, songs with them and different things. It doesn't have to be big things.
We went to Guatemala some years ago with Choice Humanitarian, and it was kind of that same feeling. You go and you just are overwhelmed with how much we have, how much hope you bring when you come.
Yes.
How happy people are living in very humble circumstances.
Absolutely.
There was one time where we were painting, we brought all this nail polish, and the women in the village would put their fingers up, and it was funny how fast they had an opinion about the color. And they're dirty under their nails, they'd been digging and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, now you have an opinion about the color of your nails. But all women love to be pampered with that. And I always thought after that vacation or trip, it wasn't a vacation, I never want to do another trip that doesn't have purpose.
Yes,
although
that's so good.
I've done lots of them with
no
but
purpose.
It's
just
So, what did that experience teach you about compassion?
I think kind of like we touched on, that you can have compassion in any scenario. It doesn't have to be these big grand gestures, that there's opportunities to just be kind and let people feel seen in any situation, right? Whether it's a stranger at the store or something big like a trip, service. I think that it just takes us back to our humanity when we are compassionate towards others and it's contagious also.
Describe your family culture. Now you have your own family. You have 4 children.
Yes.
And you're married, and you also work. You're a real estate agent.
Yep.
Define your culture of your family a little bit.
Sure. Our house, we had a friend come over, and she was like, I love how loud your house is. I would say our house is, there's always things going on. There's always people there. There's someone coming for dinner, someone visiting, family there. So it's loud and it's fun and it's busy. My kids are at exciting ages. My oldest is 14, then 11, and my boys are 7 and 8. So we play sports and we play games, and we are home a lot. My husband and I both do real estate, so we trade off on being home certain days. So we love to just find opportunities to help others and do fun little projects and things. My kids enjoy service also.
So tell me about becoming a foster parent. I didn't know that you did that.
Yes, it was when we were first married, I had gone to a class and came home and I was like, we need a foster. And my husband's like, we have our own 2 little babies. I don't think this is the time. I'm like, okay, you're right. There's kind of a season for things. So fast forward, I always get emotional talking about fostering. His cousin had been fostering for a bit, and I was like, oh, I would love to do that again, or to revisit that conversation. But just kind of is on the back burner, right? We have busy schedules. Our lives are a little chaotic. And it was honestly just an answer to prayer, which was kind of a bizarre answer because it wasn't what I was praying about. It was about something else, but it was a very impression that we need a foster. And I don't typically get answers like that, right? But it was just like, this is the time. So I told my husband, and he's like, I'm not sure we're on the same page yet. And I'm like, that's okay. We both need to be on the same page. I'll be patient, because it wasn't really what I wanted to do, but I felt like it's what we needed to do. So it took about 6 months, and he was like, okay, I feel like this is what we need to do also. So we went through the licensing process, which is quite extensive. Yes.
Heard.
And we were pretty specific on, I wanted someone younger than my kids, kind of little, and again, kind of had prayed, I need to know who this kid is that's coming to our family, because it changes your whole dynamic, adding someone to your family. So anyways, the little boy who we fostered, his name was George, and that's both of my grandfather's names. So it just kind of felt like he was supposed to be with our family. So we had George for 7 months, and it was so hard, but so amazing. My kids, stretched right to the limit of okay, this is the ultimate sacrifice, but also so incredible to feel love for a total stranger and a child, and just, we love George so much. And he actually just got adopted. We were able to find him kind of a distant aunt, and we still see him once a month. He's going to come hang out with us this weekend. And it was such an incredible experience.
Was there a reason did you just want to only do the fostering?
Yeah,
was adoption ever an option for you?
No, we just really felt like if we could provide some stability for a child for short term, and a lot of times you'll end up fostering for a few months at a time. So it was longer than kind of my idea of what it was. I was like, oh, we'll just get a few different kids for a few months here and there, and it was a longer time, but it was really great. But no, we always just plan to just foster, not adopt.
I think that fostering it really truly is an ultimate sacrifice and gesture of service, because it's all in.
Yes.
It's all in. And I've heard people say it's sometimes you take it on, or you take siblings on, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is a nightmare. It's hard.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yeah. And you don't know what you're getting. There's just lots of dynamics. But it's so amazing. Looking back, of course, you're like, it was so great. During it, there was days where we're like, oh my gosh, we're barely surviving. But it was an incredible opportunity.
That's incredible. What would you say to families considering fostering?
I feel like fostering is not for everyone, honestly. I think that there's so many ways that you can serve and you can help kids. You can get involved in different ways. But if you feel impressed to do it, I would say it's such... There's nothing else like it, right? It's a very unique opportunity, but it does affect your whole family. And so I think it's something that we wanted our kids on board with, my husband on board with, because you don't ever want anyone to, resent later on, something like that. But we had a really positive experience with it.
That's incredible. I really salute you for doing that.
Thank you.
All right. So this past month,
Yes.
I had been forwarded a link to sign up for something called the Dazzle Prom.
Yes.
And this is my year of yes.
Okay.
So it's exhausting. And usually I'm like, why did I sign up for this thing or whatever? But I'm saying yes to every opportunity.
I love that.
And I signed up for the Dazzle Prom. I had no idea what I was getting into. All it said was like dress to impress and show up at this time, which for me means evening gown. Apparently nobody else gets the assignment like I do.
Right.
But I signed up and I went. Can you tell me a little bit what the Dazzle Prom is?
Sure. So the Dazzle Prom is a prom for individuals with disabilities in Las Vegas. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints partnered up with the councilwomen out in our area, Councilwoman Polensky and Bruni, to host this prom for these individuals and make it an incredible night. So we went about setting them up with buddies, kind of like a friend for the evening, not as much a date, because we wanted to just open it up, a little less pressure for anyone who wanted to volunteer. But it was a prom for individuals with disabilities.
So I went not really knowing what I was getting into. And the first thing that I noticed about the event was how well organized it was. We all went into a big room and were given instruction. And I noticed that you led the meeting and told us what we were going to be doing. And what was really nice about it is we didn't have to have meetings like prior. We just showed up and could do something and could serve. And I loved that on the badges it had, if there was any allergies or things that maybe triggered these people with disabilities. And so I really thought it was an amazing event. It's one of the most well-organized events I think I've ever been to.
Thank you.
I was completely blown away. The decorations were beautiful. The food was exceptional. It just felt like a really important event. Tell me a little bit about the planning that goes on beforehand. I know I received an email that said, hey, we just had this last week. Tell us what we can do better.
Sure.
Tell me about what that looks like.
Yeah, so this was our second year doing the prom. So the first year was a little bit of a learning curve.
This was only your second year?
Year two, yes.
Wow,
yes.
I am even more blown away. Good job.
So it was a bit of a learning curve. The first year, you just don't know what you don't know. And we had several meetings leading up to it with the councilwomen, different individuals in the community and the church who helped put everything together. I love organizing and just having things run smoothly. I feel like there's nothing worse than showing up and having it be a little bit chaotic, and then you're not able to enjoy the night, right? Even small things like a birthday party, when someone's like asks you what you need them to do, you have this checklist in your mind, but it's hard to explain to them what needs to get done. So I love just having it very clear and laid out so everyone knows their expectations, everyone knows what they're doing. And I appreciate you saying that you got to just show up and serve, because I think when there's too much of a time commitment, right? Like, hey, you need to be at this meeting leading up to it. It kind of deters people from wanting to volunteer. So just kind of that explanation ahead of time. And I think the next year people kind of know what they're getting into, and so they'll want to do it again. But we just want it to run as smoothly as possible, especially individuals with disabilities can get overwhelmed like typical peers can. So trying to keep it just a low, check in with your first name, simple things like that to just help it run smoothly it was really our goal. And so much help. We had so much help and support that made it such an incredible night.
So one thing I was really impressed by was that you had a lot of sponsorship almost from the community.
Yeah.
The food, desserts. I don't know who did the decorations, if that was sponsored. You had a reality show there.
Yes.
Love on the Spectrum.
Yes.
You had cheerleaders from a local high school. You had a DJ. You had the news. How did you incorporate getting all those things, and only in your second year? That's pretty impressive.
It was amazing. The word spread quite quickly after our first year, just because it's something that there are definitely a lot of dances out there and things like this for individuals with disabilities, but a small scale compared to events for typical peers, right? So because it was just the first, I think word spread. I think really people want to be involved and they want to serve, but they don't know how and they don't know what to do. So when it's in our community, it's local, that gets people really excited. So like Yogurtland, they live in the area. They were so excited and generous donating that. People who did flowers, it really was word of mouth that it spread. And then of course with city councilmen, they have some connections to like the news. And from there it trickled to the reality show. He was coming to kind of just get a feel for things and talk to people. So it's really just word of mouth, and people are so generous, which is incredible.
So I liked how you paired everybody up with a buddy, usually male, female, female, just so it didn't have that pressure, which I actually appreciated as well. The first thing they did was get their crown.
Yeah, so they would check in, and then they would go to like the flower crown room. So you get their corsage or their boutonniere and take some pictures. And then there was a couple different activities set up throughout the night. We had some quiet rooms for anyone who was feeling overstimulated to just kind of go and have it, like low light music, things like that. And then some activities like coloring and different things. Just kind of visualizing walking through the building. We had the food room, so pizza and strawberries, and then we had some allergy-friendly foods for people who had some dietary
I felt like
things.
that was really well thought out as well, like the allergy situation. And, sometimes people with disabilities, you just kind of don't know what they're going to come with.
Exactly.
And I thought that was great. So I wasn't actually paired with a buddy. They had enough volunteers. I ran into an old friend. She goes, just go be with my son. Her son's name's Andrew. And I know him from when he was a little child. And we really kind of just buddied up naturally.
Yes.
And I sat at a table with a woman and her grandson. And her grandson was 12 years old.
Okay.
And JJ was his name. Darling little boy. And I talked to him. I said, let's go dance. And he said, no, I don't want to dance. And I'd go dance and come back. And I did that 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And after the 3rd or 4th time, he said, okay, I want to dance. And we went out and we danced our butts off. It was so much fun. And when he went and sat back down, his grandma said he was here last year, but this is the first time he got up.
Oh.
So in that moment, I was like, this is a good place for me because I'm good at like getting the people up and doing those things.
Sure.
That was like something I found that I was useful. So you're really useful at organizing. When did you realize that that was a gift that you had?
I feel like it's something I've always enjoyed, just kind of being organized and planning ahead. I've always loved doing that. I think having kids and starting to plan little birthday parties or work events, a lot of it has come about in different capacities with church, just serving groups of people and organizing events. I've been involved in the Garden Foundation, which is a nonprofit in Las Vegas with serving adults with disabilities as well. So I had the opportunity to plan several golf tournaments and different events for that, and really found I love being organized, and I love a good spreadsheet and just like having things planned out.
I hate a good spreadsheet.
I know not everyone
them.
does, and I think we think that our talents, like everyone has it. No. And it's helpful when someone points it out sometimes, like, oh, you're right. Not everyone enjoys pulling someone onto the dance floor, and it comes natural to you. So I think it's always really great when people point out a talent that maybe we take for granted or don't really notice.
And it's how important it is for everybody to have different ones so that it all works together in this cohesive manner.
Yes.
So how did the Dazzle Prom come about? You had said that other groups do them. What made you want to do it if other groups are doing it, and what makes yours different?
Yeah. When the opportunity was first presented to me, a friend of mine helps do communication throughout the valley, and had partnered up with the councilwoman. Okay. And so she kind of came to me and said, hey, would you be willing to do this? And I was, at the time we had George, our little, I'm like, I'm just really overwhelmed. And I was like, you know what? And then someone else kind of brought it up again, and individuals with disabilities, they have my heart. They are the happiest people. You never leave an event with these individuals and you're like, that was lame, right? You're always just like, you feel so good. They're so happy, such incredible light. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. What do you need me to do? And so initially it started with helping organize the volunteers, which kind of rolled over to, well, we need the buddies, and could you help with check-in a little bit, which it all really went hand in hand, kind of needing to know all of those things. So it evolved into making sure that the night ran smoothly. And then everyone, delegated different things. Some people were over the decorations, some people over food and different things, but that's kind of how I got.
What do you do when you're serving in something that's a large capacity? I would say it's a big event, and I'm sure it takes you all year to get ready for the next year. Yeah. What do you do when you're feeling overwhelmed?
That's a good question.
Even the best organizers get overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And when, you're looking at the spreadsheet and there's just so much. I love just checking in. Like I'm a big fan of coaching and thought work and all of those things. I will write out lists almost every day, just like a brain dump of what's going on, why am I feeling overwhelmed, what really needs to get done. And it helps so much for me to get it out of my brain and onto paper and then prioritize it from there. And then just talking it through. Sometimes it'll be with my husband, sometimes it'll be someone on the committee. It's so helpful to just talk through because it feels so overwhelming when it's just all in our brain. But when we can see it, when we can talk about it, then we're like, okay, this doesn't need to be done right now. This might need to be done later. Someone can help me with this. But for me, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, putting it on paper and then deciding priorities of what needs to get accomplished is very helpful.
Did those youth, most of them were younger people with disabilities, how did they find that? I was wondering where they came from, basically.
The city posted about it on their social media platforms. Okay. And then they reached out and we reached out to a lot of the organizations who help individuals with disabilities. So again, just kind of word of mouth, and then an email again to the people who went last year.
So we just I just participated. A Cinderella pageant does an special needs pageant.
Okay.
And it is so much fun. And I went through all the gowns and we hang them up. And so the girls come, they get totally makeup, hair, gown. They get to walk the runway. They get to answer an onstage question. And it's so funny because the people participating in the pageant have a great time.
Sure.
But it's always the volunteers that take the most away.
Yes.
And one thing I noticed about the Dazzle Prom is that there was a lot of youth volunteering. I would say 70% of the buddies were youth.
Yep.
And I thought, this is a really cool generational switch or change that all these youth want to come and be involved on a Friday, Saturday night.
Yes.
So tell me how you recruit the youth and how you help them feel comfortable with people with special needs.
Sure. So it was amazing, and Valentine's weekend nonetheless. Yes. And like a lot of you probably have plans, so it was incredible to see the people who showed up. We reached out to high schools, so like Centennial and Arborview are two high schools that are close by where the dance happened. So we reached out to like their student council and their ROTC programs, and then a lot of it was reaching out to different church youth organizations was where the bulk of that came from. And the city councilmen, because they are over this area, thought would be really great to involve youth and families who live in that area also, to just foster even more of, a community. So majority of the people, we did have some people drive from Henderson and someone came from Arizona. Wow. So really cool. But majority of them came from youth church groups in the area.
So I've been following Tim Tebow.
Yes.
And I just see a lot of his social media, and he does Night to Shine. Yes. Very similar. They do limos. That's how he met his wife. She had called to have her sister be one of his guests, but it's really along those same lines.
It is, yes. And we found out after the fact, or some date planning, they had a Night to Shine event going on in Las Vegas that same night.
I actually saw that.
Which was, at first we're like, this is a bummer. We're going to not get as many people. And then we realized that those events were full. And so a lot of the guests who came had tried to maybe go to a different dance and were disappointed they didn't get in. So they were so excited that they had a dance. Yes. So I think it speaks volumes to like, there's not enough events like this out there. Like there's so many opportunities to serve this community.
Maybe you can partner in some way with them.
Yeah,
because I'm sure they do amazing.
Yes.
Well, you have done a beautiful job with everything. What would you say to somebody who really wants to serve, who maybe is struggling, they're, feeling depressed, they're feeling down, they don't know how to get out of that? What's the best way to serve, and where do you start?
That's a great question. I think starting where you're at, right? If you are already feeling overwhelmed or that you're not doing enough, to go and try to say, let me organize an event or do something that probably is not going to make you feel any less overwhelmed. But I think looking for small opportunities to serve around you, sometimes that's as small as our family. Sometimes that doesn't feel as impactful, even though it truly is the best way to serve. But I think we serve best when we love who we're serving. So finding like a population or a group of people who you're like feel a little bit of connection with. It might not be individuals with disabilities. That might not be what draws someone in. It might be kids. It might be elderly. There's so many different populations that I think our hearts are kind of pulled towards. So I think starting with, hey, what interests me? And is there something really small I could do? There's a lot of great apps like Just Serve where you can go on and you can find like, hey, I can donate blankets. That means I go through my old closet and I do something like that. That's an act of service. Someone needs those things, right? There's small ways, but I think starting with what interests you, because that will fuel you to do more instead of feeling like this doesn't align with
like
me. It doesn't feel like me.
And I've been to several things where I'm like, this was great, but it's not my thing.
And that's okay. Not feeling bad about it either. Like we had some people who were like, this was great, but I probably wouldn't come do this again. Don't feel like if it doesn't align with you or it's not, it doesn't click, keep trying to find something that does click. Don't stop.
So recently I was talking to some girls that I work with, some ladies, and one of them really opened up to me just during lunch duty. I'm a substitute teacher, and she's like, I work 3 jobs. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids, and I'm just really burned out.
Yeah.
And I can barely hang on. And I started something called the Glitter Collective. I just find things that are donated, like blankets, like a eye mask, a sippy cup, like something, just a self-care item. And I write a really nice card and just give them to people, especially women in that specific, that really pulls up my heartstrings. I remember being single. I had 6 children. It was very difficult. And it was always those small acts of kindness that just brought me to the next day.
Yes.
And so like you said, find something that really plays to your heart, your emotions, your tender spot.
Yes.
And I think that's a really great place to start. I've really enjoyed handing people anonymous bags that just say, hey, you're loved, you're seen, keep going.
Yes.
Tomorrow's a new day. I have my one last question that I ask everybody. What do you want your legacy to be?
I would want, and I thought about this a lot. I was like, oh, that is a deep question.
It is.
Really made me think. I would want, and I kind of was thinking like my kids, like what do I want my children? Of course, the community to remember, but I'm in the thick of it with my kids. I would want them to remember how much I love serving and that I love Jesus, and that when we love Jesus, we love other people, and that will fuel you to keep helping and serving people, and just that I love people and I love serving them. That would probably be what I would want to leave.
That's a beautiful legacy. Thank you, Casie, for talking with me today. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.